My name's Tyler McIntyre. I'm the director of It's a Wonderful Knife, and you are watching Craven Something Scary.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are on a Sunday afternoon, an unusual time for me to stream, 2 p.m. Central, but it's for good reason. And I'm so thankful that you guys are all starting to come into the chat. Welcome, my visitors, subscribers, patrons, and my channel members, otherwise known as my Cravenites. So glad you're all here. We're going to have an amazing stream with an incredible individual who is just so kind and generous. And I was just speaking with him backstage for a little while and just super nice. You're going to love him. You're going to love him, guys. And not only that, incredibly talented. Oh, my goodness. If you stroll over to IMDb after the stream is over, you're going to see what I'm talking about. It's just the list of work, projects, movies. It's incredible. It's impressive. And what's more impressive than the list is the work he did on the movies themselves, like the actual visuals. So we're going to get into, unfortunately, well, it's fortunately and it's bittersweet. Alan has been so kind that to stay with us for an hour, which is very generous of him to give us an hour of his time. But with that, time will be tight. And you guys know how quickly these things go. So we're only going to get to touch on a couple of movies, maybe 3, a little bit. However, I want to encourage you guys to send your questions and comments for Alan now. Start sending them in the live chat because I may not be able to cover the movie that you're wanting to talk about. So this is an opportunity for you to have direct access to Alan Gilmore, which is such a treat. And I will do my very best to get everyone's questions answered for you. However, in a tight schedule like this, and with me, I have lots of questions myself. So it's not going to be possible for everyone's question to be answered. So know that up front. Don't take it personal. It's not. It's just a matter of time, okay? It's time and volume. However, I will say this last thing before we bring them on. If you do have that burning question where you just like, I really want to know about this scene or this design or what have you from this movie, you can send in a super chat. And super chats, I promise you, I move to the front of the line. And I will guarantee you that all super chats are going to be addressed with Alan before the stream ends, okay? So you have that outlet to do, or that means to do if you would like to do so. And it also helps the channel by you supporting the channel as well. So it's a win-win. I appreciate it. And you'll get your question or comment acknowledged by Alan. So it's pretty cool. All right, guys. I also wanted to say thank you to my moderators that are here this afternoon. I know Sarah's here. Janisha's here. The Bearded Entertainment, Eric. Thank you guys for being here and modding the chat as needed. And lastly, just a blanket hello to you guys. Again, I don't want to spend time, any more time than we need to because we don't have that much time. So, but I do want to say this. I appreciate each of you. I see you're here if you've commented, and it's great to see you guys. So hello to all of you, and let's get started. So guys, I am so thrilled to bring on a guest here that I have been working on. We've been working together in schedules and things since literally August. And it's one of those things where some things are just worth the wait. And this is this prime example of that. So guys, please welcome the production designer of so many movies, Cobweb. We're going to talk about a lot tonight or today. Crawl, the amazing Crawl, and the Pope's Exorcist, I mean, the list just goes on. Extinction, which is a really great movie I really like. And there's like I say, the list goes on and on and on. Please welcome my guest, Mr. Alan Gilmore. Alan, welcome to the stream.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Thank you for having me here tonight. Thank you.
You are very welcome. I appreciate you, sir, with your busy schedule, carving out this time to hang out with me and my audience on YouTube. It's really kind of you. Thank you.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all.
All right. Well, guys, let's see. Actually, we've already got a super chat. So, hey, you know what, Alan? Before I start my questions, let's go ahead and I'll bring up the super chat because I do promise it goes ahead on the line. And this is actually probably one of the questions I was going to ask later, but we'll ask it now. We're just going to dive in. Denisha, one of my moderators, sends a $5 super chat for the channel. Thank you, Denisha. Says, hey, Mr. Alan Gilmore, what favorite part of designing Crawl? What was your favorite part designing Crawl? It was a good movie. How did you get the project started?
Well, should I start?
Yes.
So Crawl was I always say a huge challenge. It was definitely a huge challenge. So I got to work with an amazing French director named Alex Aja on that movie. He's very famous in France and quite famous for making a lot of great horror movies. And it was one of my first horror movies. I love the horror world, not the genre. I find it's extremely creative because I've spent many years working on, I would call, normal Hollywood films, and they're much less creative than a good horror story. Horror is, you have to get very deep, you have to get very close. And Crawl was an amazing challenge because we had to create Florida for a start, and we made Crawl in Europe, in Eastern Europe. And most of it in a huge warehouse. So everything you saw in the movie was built as a set.
Got you.
We didn't actually have we filmed a tiny bit on a freeway in Florida, I think. We had a camera team go over there, but everything else we shot in a country called Serbia. And they have great filmmaking over there. They've got a real history of filmmaking. But we had to build amazing sets. We had to work with water. We had to work with stunts. We had to create this world where this family, a father and daughter, are trapped in a house, and to make it real, make it feel absolutely believable. So Alex Aja, real detail-orientated man. I loved him. We initially designed the world, the place where it all happens, that environment, the neighborhood of somewhere in Florida. We worked with experts on hurricanes and storms, and we tried to make it feel real. And I think it worked out pretty good. The biggest challenge on that film was the crawl space under the house, where most of the action takes place.
Yes.
Very complicated because you're working in a set that's like 4 feet high and it's full of water, and it's super hot. So like it's sometimes quite a crazy world to be in. And we're all in wetsuits, swimming around, talking to each other, trying to work it out, and it worked. So I hope that was kind of an answer for your question.
Wow, that's amazing. And that really does mirror like one of the things I was going to mention because, I've seen Crawl multiple times, and I believe it to be the best alligator creature feature movie out there. I think it's so well done. And I have to tell you this because it goes back to the believability, because movies, and this, Alan, for what you do, of course, better than anybody, better than me. If you have to be in the movie, like you have to believe what you're seeing. Yeah. Of course, we know it's not real, but when you're watching it, you immerse yourself into that universe. But if it doesn't look right, it takes you out of the movie. You don't even, you do. This, no, go ahead. No, I was just going to say, the way you designed these sets, the look of everything, I felt like what was happening on that screen was really happening. It felt as real as, if it was in my house. All right. I'm serious. I
hope you don't have alligators under your house. That's
Lord, no. For sure. Me too. But seriously, man, that is your vision. That's you bringing it to life. And I was going to ask you, like, basically, like, as far as inspiration goes, was there any particular thing that you drew from, or was it just all imagination?
Well, it's a lot of it is research. So, like my
Okay.
background is I'm an architect. I studied architecture, so I then went into movies and film and television, and
Mhm.
you learn how to research things. So, no matter what the story is, whatever script I'm sent, is it set in Mars? Is it set in the USA? Is it set in
Mhm.
Australia, in Europe, wherever? You have to research, crazy research. And
Okay.
the internet is my best friend. Google's my best friend.
Yes.
And I spent a few weeks just getting deep diving into a place. And for that Crawl movie, I deep dived into Florida. Exactly. So I actually I told you I lived in Florida. So I know
Yeah.
it quite well. But
Mhm.
also, movies take liberties. They bend the truth sometimes. You have to bend the world to fit the story, but make it feel real, like you say. So yeah, we had to like really, would a giant tidal wave go across Florida? I don't know. It might never happen, but we had to make it feel like it could happen.
Yes. And it did. If it really felt
Yeah,
like it, I'm telling you, it's everything from the gas station, the people trying to steal the ATM,
yeah.
which they got what they deserved.
They had a very sad ending. Yeah, very sad ending.
Yes, they did. Um, but yeah, seriously, just an amazing job with Crawl. I can't even begin. And I will come back to Crawl. So
Yeah, yeah.
but real quick, Denisha, thank you for your question and your super chat. That was great. Much appreciated. Okay, so we're going to come back to Crawl for sure. But first, and I'd like to kind of just touch on kind of Alan, your origin. I love to hear. Every time I get to meet someone
Yeah.
that's in the film industry, I always love to hear how things began. And I know that you mentioned architecture, was where you began, but where did the passion first start for you for design, art, and architecture? Like, when did you
I
know like
think
that was your thing?
it's in my family, really. We're all artists. So my mother, my dad, my
Oh,
brother, my sister,
okay,
everybody's an artist in my house. So
nice.
um, I couldn't avoid it, really. I couldn't avoid it. When I was a kid, I'm from Ireland. When I was a kid, I saw a movie set and I was like 12 years old. I
Yeah,
was what is this thing? It's amazing. How is it even here? Because it looks like, say, real, but then you look behind it and it's fake. It's like materials from Home Depot or plywood and paint. And I loved that magic, the make believe of
hmm,
theater, film, television, any of them. And so I really wanted to learn that art. So very luckily, I got to work in movies pretty quickly after leaving college. I worked in Dublin first in Ireland, worked on a lot of movies there, and then I moved to London, where I am now. So, and London is a huge, huge filmmaking center. It's
hmm.
like it's equal to Hollywood now at this point. There's so many studios here, so many movies.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really? Wow, I didn't realize that. Okay. Wow. Hey guys, while we're talking today, Denisha, thank you for posting the links. We've got Alan's website. I want you to check out his website and listen, follow him on Instagram. There's the link. All you need to do is smash that link in the chat. You'll take you right to his Instagram. Hit that follow button. Bam. And stay in tune with what's going on. And his website's very impressive as well.
it's a work in progress. It's going to get a lot better.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
already like it, so I
No,
can't wait to
I need to
see.
do a lot of fixing. It's I started building it at Christmas. It's my newer website, but I'm
Yeah,
just so busy with different things, so I got to find time.
sure. Of course. Well, you're off to a great start for what it's worth. I think it looks great
Thank you.
already. So be sure you guys check that out for sure and support him any way that we can. Now, let me ask you this. I know you said it kind of naturally, kind of quickly went to the film business. How did that not transfer, but how did that happen? Like, how did it go from art, architecture, and then what got you into the film business? What was that?
Well,
What door opened?
yeah, anybody will tell you there's no direct pathway into the film industry or movie industry. It's you can't just knock on a door and say I'd like a job. It tends to take several years of pushing.
Mm,
I was taught a great phrase by my teacher in school: persistence beats resistance. You have to keep
mm,
going, keep being persistent. You'll get there. A
yes.
lot of people ask me, Alan, how do I get into this world? And I said, there's no pathway really. You just have to push, push, push.
Hmm.
But I luckily met some really cool people where I'm from, and they introduced me to other cool people. And eventually, small jobs became slightly bigger, and then I worked on bigger and bigger. And I eventually then ended up in London, like I said, and got to work on really big jobs where you have huge teams of people working together. It's very exciting. But yeah, I've been very lucky to come to London. It really helped me out.
Wonderful. Wow. Well, that's fantastic. And I mean, if anyone's taken the bull by the horns, Alan,
Mhm.
I think you fit that that description, my
Well,
friend.
I'm pretty good at grasping an opportunity. If I see something, I'm there. I'm straight in there.
That's wonderful. Now, speaking of opportunities, let's dive into what was one of my favorite movies of the year last year, and that was Cobweb. I thought this was an original kind of movie. It was different, and what I wanted to ask was, how did the opportunity come about to be the production designer for Cobweb?
Well, this is an interesting story. So, the director of Cobweb, Samuel Baudin, another French director.
Mhm.
I seem to have a thing about French people. I work with them a lot. But I had seen a show of his on Netflix. He made a show called Marianne. I
Oh,
don't know if you guys got that in the States, but we had it in
okay.
Europe. Have you
Okay.
ever heard of it, Marianne?
I have
You got to
not.
try and check it out.
I will.
It's a really cool series. One season only, and it's kind of like a
Okay.
ghost story. It's set
Oh.
in France. It's in French, but it's amazing to look at. And again, it's so different. It was so different.
Okay.
Marianne, Marianne. So I told my agent, I said, I've got to try and work with this guy. He's really talented. And like weirdly, she said, oh, he's just written a new script. So how it works in Hollywood is we all have agents, and if we hear of something interesting, we try and contact those filmmakers. So I asked my agent to try and contact Samuel, and it worked, and we got to meet each other. And crazily, he gave me the job, and we kind of talked a lot. I got it's his first movie he made, so it was a big jump for him. And his best friend was the cameraman,
Yeah.
and we just got on really well. Like the other crazy thing is we made Cobweb in the height of COVID, so pre vaccines, pre everything. We went out to a place called Sofia in Bulgaria in Eastern Europe again. So Eastern Europe's a theme here. A lot of movies are made in Eastern Europe. So we went to the studios there. I had to everything you see in Cobweb is built. They're all sets. Again,
All sets.
The streets, the school, the house,
Wow.
everything, all built. Yeah. So that's why we can create these very fantastical environments. So you see strange shapes, strange windows, strange patterns, strange colors. It was all about creating this strange feeling for the house and the place. And amazingly, we were working with Anthony Starr from Homelander, who was an amazing guy to work with.
Yes, he was great.
Genius actor. He's so ominous and so menacing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fantastic. It was neat to see him. For me, that was the first role that I'd seen him in outside of Homelander.
Yeah. And we were kind of wondering what's he going to be like, but he was actually very good. He's very, very unique man, very good character.
That's awesome. That's so good to hear. And it was also kind of funny because when I watched the movie, I keep thinking to myself, don't mess with Homelander, man. He's going to come out. I keep thinking of him as being Homelander, but
again, like you said earlier, you have to try and watch the movie and not even see Homelander. You have to see this strange family living somewhere. You're not sure where they are, but they're in this very strange house, in a strange town. Their kid is strange. There's something really weird going on. You're not sure what's happening. And that's the whole essence of Cobweb, that we had to create that atmosphere, that why is this poor little boy in this house? And why are his parents so weird? And what's going on? Yeah. And that was the story we had to tell. So with Sam, I was working very closely with him to have almost like subliminal messages. Like Cobweb's all about spiders. So I put into the set design, like spiders have 8 legs. So there's octagons, 8-sided shape. There's a lot of octagons hidden everywhere. Ooh. And it's like a subliminal spider shape. So it's fun kind of getting a backstory into something. And I had to talk to someone, who built this house? Who owned it before this family? Where are they from? Because again, often when I read a script for a movie, it just says page 1, interior strange house somewhere in America. And I have to then work out what that house is. Wow. I need to know the story. So I have to get back into the story. I have to talk to the director, the writers, and just really deep dig in there. That where is this world from? Who made this world?
Wow,
so, it was cool.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I'm just thinking, like, you literally have, like you say, a house in America, right? I mean, That's it. And
In
the
America,
rest is
as we just
all.
spoke a while ago, America's a big place, so
It is.
there are a lot of houses, and we have to zoom in literally down to the street. What street do they live in? Where is the street? Who else lives on the street? Like, what kind of
Yes.
car do they have? What's their garden like? A lot
Wow.
of questions. So I'm like a detective. I have to get deep into the story.
That's fascinating, Alan. And I'm gonna be watching Cobweb again. Now I may even watch it later today.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned the octagon shapes. Now I'm like, I want to go. I want to look
You got to
for them
find
now.
them. Yeah, you got to find them. Yeah.
I got to find them.
Well, I'll give you one of
them.
them. So behind the boy's bed on the wall,
Okay.
the window behind his head, that's the first octagon you'll find.
Okay.
And there'll be many, many more throughout. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. Because Sam, being a French filmmaker, they're very abstract in how they work. And it's very interesting journey. I've worked with filmmakers from many different countries, and they all have a different way. But the French have a very particular style, I would say.
Wow, that's great. And like I say, man, you're hitting home runs with these French directors, man. No,
it's been a good experience with them, and I've been working more now with American directors recently, and I'll be working with a British director very soon. So it's kind of nice to have a mixture, a lot of mixture.
Yes. Anthony says, love the set design in Cobweb. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Anthony.
Yes, me too. It is. It's fantastic. Now, so you kind of touched on this, but I just want to throw it out there one more time in a little different way to see if I can dig everything out of your imagination.
Yeah,
so
no problem. Yeah.
So after you read that script and it said, House in America, just very bland, not bland, but plain description. Like what I'm just trying to think what your method, like, okay, you take that and you have the creative freedom to make that what you want it to be. And so what is the process? Do you immediately
you start to think about colors and shapes, and color is a big one. I tend to work very closely with the costume designer who does all the costumes. The camera person, I work with them very closely because we all can help each other out. And with a movie like Cobweb, it's very stylized. Like it's like a piece of art. So it does bend the rules. It's not reality. You can really play with them. Like a big thing in Cobb is Sam loves shadows. So you saw a lot of shadows, like kind of very ominous, strange shadows behind people.
So
we had to create environments how we could make shadows. So we had to make the staircase extra big, his bedroom extra tall, and the parents' bedroom and the boys' bedroom are in a very strange arrangement. But it kind of creates these moments where you can create these very odd scenes where the mother is running to him and you hear strange noises. And then at the end of the movie, when there's the big finale, it really helps that story being told as well.
Wow. Yeah. And I see Denisha has not yet seen Cobweb. Listen, guys, anyone here, if you have not seen this movie, I'm telling you right now, it's one of the best of the year, in my opinion, 2023. And I promise you will not be disappointed with the performances, the visuals that Alan created, the sets. They are fantastic. And the movie itself, the story itself is, woo.
Yeah, it's quite out. It's out there. It's kind of unfortunate because it came out and it was some really big movies at the same time.
Yeah,
and it just didn't get the airplay that it probably should have got. And
agreed.
I'm getting a lot of, like yourself, saying this. They really loved it. I get a lot of people coming to me saying, "We didn't know about this movie, but wow, we've seen it now. We love it." Yeah.
Yes. Oh, it is a gem, and it's underrated, and it's kind of a hidden gem.
Yeah, and it's not perfect, but it's good. I would say nothing in the world is perfect, but you find what you like in the movie, I think.
Yes. Oh gosh, yeah. And I guess I'm going to be a detective, as you said a moment ago. You are, and I'm going to find those octagons. I'll email you and say,
"Yeah,
here are all the octagons I found. Did I miss any?"
Look everywhere. Look everywhere.
Okay. Now I got a question for you. Once filming started, how many weeks or days or weeks of shooting did you guys have to get that movie
for example, Cobweb was like 6 weeks of filming, so 5 days a week, so 30 days. And and that's a good size. Like a big movie could be like 15 weeks, 20 weeks, but a standard horror movie is like 6 to 8 weeks normally. Like
Yeah.
I think Cobweb was 6 weeks. Crawl was what, 7 weeks, I think. Because
Okay.
Crawl was very complicated. We had to do a lot of work in water, and water takes longer. And then Pope's Exorcist was like 8 weeks, slightly bigger.
Okay. Wow. That answers one of my questions about Crawl. So thank you. I'm always curious to find out.
But then ahead of
You know?
that, before they start filming, I joined the movie maybe 10 or 12 weeks before that. And that's the time that I design and build all those sets. That's when that happens.
Wow. 10, how many weeks you said?
About 12, 10 to 12 weeks. Yep. And that's quick. I have to
Wow,
create
that
a world in 12 weeks.
Ooh, man. That really is. Because you've got to have your carpenters,
Yep.
right? Your painters, all the team.
We have to draw. We have to create all the construction drawings. We have to literally create everything. Like, you wouldn't believe how many different people get involved to create that story.
Wow. Well, and I have such respect for production designers because, it's like before I got into doing this, like it is a passion of mine. You see production designer on credits, and I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know what that is. Like,
what is that job? Yeah.
Like I have an idea of what it might be, but and the very first time I got to interview a production designer, it was Michelle Liberté, who did Scream 6.
Oh, cool.
And from Canada. And I asked her, can you tell me what a production designer really does? Like, what is that really? And when she explained how basically, essentially, you're right under the director. You've got every team reporting to you, and she's described it as like being a president, and you have all these groups that are, reporting to you, and you're in charge of, and the director holds you accountable for everything.
It's a very wide-ranging job, and it's quite a lot of pressure. You kind of just have to handle the pressure, and because you asked every question, and nobody else is going to provide an answer, you have to provide the answer.
Man, that's incredible. Just so much respect for sure. And now I have to ask you, just on a personal note, for Cobweb, did you have a favorite scene or a sequence in the movie that when you watch it now, even you're like, I'm proud of that, or that was great? And what makes it your favorite, if you do have one?
There's a couple of moments. I love when we first see their house, because I know that whole street didn't exist a few weeks before that.
That's amazing.
And I think the house feels very comfortable. Like, I worked with Sam, the director, to pick a house type, and he had seen a painting somewhere which he had a reference for, and he showed me that painting. I said, okay, I can work with this. So I created the house off his reference of a painting, and we kind of created this very atmospheric, strange but quiet house. The other scene I really love is when they first go to the backyard and you see all the pumpkins. I love that sea of pumpkins. It's a really vivid, very very Halloween moment.
Very.
So we actually watched a lot of John Carpenter while we were making the movie. It became a big inspiration for us. People will see that when they watch the movie. They'll see kind of John Carpenter hints throughout.
Oh, that's a good point to bring up. And what was it that like inspired the idea for the pumpkins? Is it just
Halloween.
Halloween.
It's a classic Halloween shape.
Yep.
In the story, the boy in school, they do a pumpkin carving, and it becomes a central part of his journey. But then, because not giving away the film, but something happens in the backyard, he finds something, and the pumpkins are kind of part of that journey.
True. You're right. It very much becomes a part of it, and a very important part of it. And wow, I'm going to watch that again today. I'm telling you, I love that movie so much, and I'm like, it's been a little bit since I've seen it, but I'm going to watch it. I know there's some few folks that haven't seen it in the audience here, so I may host a watch party, man. I may host a watch party.
I'll give you a little Easter egg. So in the movie, in the school the boy goes to, it's called the Holdenfield High School, and the logo of the school is a turtle. You'll see it a few times. That's Sam's, the director's, favorite creature. So we incorporated his favorite creature into the movie in different places.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, more to look for when I rewatch it now. That's what's so cool. It's like having these discussions with you you'll never watch it exactly the same now.
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to remember and see things like, it's just, I love that. I just love
no,
that.
it's cool. It's good fun, isn't it? Yeah. But
It
the
really
thing is,
is.
weirdly, I can watch a movie myself and I can believe it. I can watch somebody else's
Mm-hmm.
movie and go, this is real. I believe this.
Yes, exactly. And that's, to me, that's the mark. If I feel that way and I'm watching watching a movie, that to me, they nailed it. That was a success.
Exactly.
Now, my good friend Eric over at the Bearded Entertainment had a question. He says, Alan, at what point in the production is the production designer typically hired, and are they chosen by the director or the studio?
Actually, both. So I'm actually interviewing for 2 movies this week, 2 Hollywood movies. And so I've been sent the 2 scripts and I've read them and I have to make a presentation for each one. A lot of work, but I'll then meet the director on a Zoom call or a call. And at the same time, the studio, which will be the producers and the money people, they'll check me out. They'll look at my IMDb. They'll look at my ideas and they get to decide if I get to join the team. So I've got a pretty good rate of success in the last couple of years. I tend to get most jobs I apply for, but I'm not sad if I miss a job. It's no big deal. But yeah, it's the studio and the director who get to make that call.
Interesting. Great. Okay. Well, great question, Eric. That's good information to know. And now we're probably not going to have time to get to this movie. So I want to put this question up from RJ. RJ says, hey, Alan, how much of the Pope's Exorcist is based on that true story?
It's kind of, a lot of it is kind of true because the main character, Gabriel Amorth, was a real person. He was the exorcist for the Vatican. There's a lot of storytelling going on. Like the Pope's Exorcist is pretty true. The places that you see in the film are real. They're not real. They're sets in Ireland, but we had to create that feeling of Spain and Italy and that kind of Gothic medieval world. But everything's generally based on real characters. How it would be. That's how the Vatican would be. That's how an abbey would be. Russell Crowe's character is a stylized version of the actual Gabriel Amorth. But funnily enough, Russell Crowe, when he came to join us in Ireland for the production, he got very deep into the story. He researched the characters. He learned that the real Amorth loved a certain Italian soccer team. So we had to put the soccer team on the Vespa, the motorbike, the logos.
Yeah.
Even the socks that Russell Crowe wore with that soccer team's colors. So lots of little details there. But yeah, that was a great job to work on because it was my first, I'd call it pretty big scale horror. It was a big scale movie. Like it had a lot of very complicated moments to create.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's a movie that I will admit to you, I have not seen.
Okay,
because I normally don't watch religious-based horror and that kind of thing.
I think you would like it. It's
yeah.
It's the thing is for me, because again I'm Irish and we tend to be mostly Catholic over here.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was very exciting to do a movie about the church because I'm not a big church person, but I have quite a lot of inner knowledge of the other side of the church, the darker side. And I thought it was great fun to be creating a world around that. Yeah. And it was very important for me to get it right so that even religious people, if religious people watch that movie, they go, okay, this is right. We actually had two of our producers were ex-priests.
Oh, wow.
They're the ones that got the movie made, and they were really cool guys. Mm-hmm. And they loved what we did. They're going, this feels totally right. We love this. So it was very positive. Yeah.
Wow. I may give it a chance. I mean, knowing that
please do, because
knowing you worked on it, I know
the religion.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And again, everything you see is a set. When you watch that movie, it's all built. Yeah.
Wow, it's all a set. I need to watch it because knowing you worked on it, I know it's going to be a quality work. And I've had people tell me, like you said, they told me you should check it out. Like, you really should. It's not, it's not like The Exorcist from the 70s. It's not that kind of necessarily like that.
It's not meant to be. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Okay.
Again, people have to watch movies and just let the movie happen. Just let the movie roll over you and try and enjoy it. That's my general way of doing things.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you this about Cobweb. I'm jumping back to Cobweb for a
Yeah.
little bit. What would you say was the most challenging part? Or, I hate to say difficult, but you could. Difficult or challenging part of making from a production design perspective?
I think the house, the inside of the house, because we had a lot of very complex scenery and scenes.
Mhm.
The character of the boy's sister, who we learn about,
Mhm.
she's almost supernatural, but she's not. She does very strange things. That she's upside down in the house. She can walk
Yes.
on the walls, and that's not easy to create. So
Ooh.
a little secret, we built some sets upside down. So that's how we did that.
Ooh,
Or built them
okay.
sideways. So that creates a very realistic version of a person apparently levitating or walking on the ceiling.
Uh,
It's a lot of fun. It's an old Hollywood trick, but it works.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. um, and let me ask you this: after you watch the final finished version, everything's done, edited, music, sound, all that's done. Um, what do you consider, or did you consider when you first saw it, to be the most fulfilling or exciting part of the movie for you? That was like,
I think for me, it's just all of those different elements coming together. It's
yeah,
because I'm so focused on the look, the colors, the sets, the environment. I don't really get to think about the music so much, or the special effects, or the visual effects. I love seeing all of that come together.
yes, it's got to be really cool to see, what you built, all the sets, because you see him in person. Obviously, you're there,
Yeah, yeah.
but to see him on the big screen, or to see him on the screen, it's got to be fulfilling. It's got to be
No,
so neat.
it's
Like
a
I
nice.
made
It is.
that.
It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, like I designed that. Like that's my design. That's from my mind. That's so cool. Very cool. Now let me ask you this, and this is maybe a loaded question, but were there any surprises along the way when you were making Cobweb that you just didn't anticipate or expect? Like, oh wow, I didn't see that coming. Kind of
Well,
moment.
I'll give a little secret on how we made the movie in a country called Bulgaria, which is kind of Eastern Europe, we'll call it.
Okay.
And in Bulgaria, they speak Bulgarian. They don't speak English. So my team are all speaking a different language to me for a start. And the
Oh
challenge
man.
is how to educate them what America looks like. What is America? What's correct? What's incorrect? And
Mhm.
every day I would see something that would be just a disaster. They'd offer up an idea for something and go, no, 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 it wouldn't be like that. That's not how it is. And because my job is to get it right, like we spoke about, get the detail
Right.
right.
That's right.
So you're constantly teaching everybody how to even spell words and what's the right look of a word, or a graphic, a poster,
Hmm.
a vehicle. Like even a funny one in Cobweb, we have this American school bus, the yellow bus that takes him to school.
Yep.
So they happen to have one of your American school buses in the studio in Bulgaria, and we had a local guy make the registration plates for the bus,
Uh-huh. Hmm.
and it's Pennsylvania is where you are in that movie. You're meant to be in Pennsylvania. So the bus arrived. I hadn't seen it, and it arrived on set the day of filming. And I went to have a look. I always check everything, and Pennsylvania was spelt incorrectly at each end of the bus.
Oh
It was totally
no.
wrong. So I had to really quickly work out what to do. So luckily it had been raining, so I just got some dirt and threw it at the bus, and you never know.
That's
But
good.
I hid the Pennsylvania, the way it was spelt. But that's just a normal small thing. But every day there'll be something that'll happen that'll, like, for me being a detail nerd,
Yeah.
it can freak me out if it's not right. Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine. Because I mean, your whole, that's your baby. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
This is you're, born from your
Yeah.
imagination, and it needs to be right. And
And
I
it's a huge part of my challenges. I work on a lot of American movies, and it's getting it to look right. That's the big thing. It's like it's so easy to get it wrong.
hmm
Like I
hmm
know, I'm sure you guys all know, but in every country in the world, things are different. It's like the power
Yeah.
outlets, the
hmm
washing machine, this in your kitchen, the faucets, they're very specific for each
That's
country.
true. Yeah.
And again, like I mentioned, we made that movie during the pandemic, so there was no Amazon or eBay available. We had to somehow make it work with what we could find. So
Wow.
here's a funny quick story for you. So in the kitchen, there's a blue refrigerator that's
Hmm.
hiding a door. That's actually a Russian refrigerator. but we found out that they copied American appliances in the 70s. They kind of
Interesting.
copied the aesthetic. So we found one.
Huh.
We took the Russian sign off it and we made an American sign. And we made up a brand. I invented a fake brand, and that's on that refrigerator. And nobody will ever know. That's kind of the fun things you do.
That's amazing. But see, now I know, and we know
Yeah.
in the audience. So now, whenever I see the kitchen in the fridge,
Yeah,
I'm going to be like, I know that. I know that.
and,
Hey,
and
that's
even the sink, you call it a sink as well, where you
Yep.
wash the food. So the
Yep.
mother is chopping pumpkins in the sink,
Mhm.
and American sinks are quite unique. They're nothing like European sinks. And
Ah,
luckily, I've worked on enough movies to know what they look like, an older style one. So
okay.
we actually made that sink, completely made it, and it
Oh,
looks completely right. And for me, that was very important. Like I looked
yeah,
at 100 sinks they showed me, and I said, no, none of these are correct. We got to make it. We got to make the sink correct. Yeah. So that's the level of detail that
man.
everything has to be right, and it's stuff that you don't even think about.
No, like that's stuff like for me being just a fan and an audience member,
Yeah.
of the movie would never think about.
And
And
if you guys walk around your own home, like the things you look at around, you don't even. They're
yeah,
just there. Like I
right,
turn
right.
the light switch. That's there. For us
Yeah,
to
that's
make
right.
that light switch over here can be quite tricky at times. So we have to come up with some very clever ideas.
Incredible, incredible. So, guys, and everyone in the chat and the audience, whether you're watching this live right now or on the replay later tonight or tomorrow or a month or two from now, when you're watching this, I hope you guys appreciate, as I'm appreciating the level of detail that goes into making a good movie, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there are bad movies that people I don't necessarily think care a whole lot about. It doesn't seem, but I hate to be, I'm not going to be like too negative, but the movies that Alan makes, they're so well done. They look so good, and I hope you guys appreciate it, as I'm just marveling at the level of detail that Alan is taking. I mean, going through 100 sink pictures to find a sink, and just what,
I know.
forget it. We're gonna make one. I mean,
You know what? I was working with a lady in Bulgaria. It was her job to find that sink. I was driving her crazy. And
wow.
she's going, Alan, why are you so worried about the sink? Sure, you should be more worried about the house. I said, no. It's not like that. It's the little details. They have to be all
Yes.
right. Because the camera is going to be on top of that sink. Like the director's going to be right there. And it has to be perfect. So that's
Yeah.
why I learned years ago in London that when you make a movie set, everything has to be there. Even the things you can't see. You can open the refrigerator and there's food in there. All the
Yep.
labels have to be correct. In every drawer and door of the kitchen, there has to be things inside there, just in case they decide to open it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of crazy the amount of detail.
Man, and speaking of detail, like I love your quick thinking on your feet with the license plate
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
bus. And Eric, my buddy Eric over at Beard Entertainment, says now I'm going to be eyeing the license plate next time I watch the movie.
Yeah. The thing is, you'll watch the movie and it'll look correct. You'll never know because we hide.
Yeah.
You plan everything as best you can, but you cannot anticipate those little scares that happen along the
Yeah.
way. And even though you're making a horror movie, that's my horror, is little things like
Right.
that. Because nothing's worse than somebody telling me, "Oh, we saw your movie, but hey, the license plate was wrong," and I can't let that happen. No way.
Nope. I think that's awesome. That's so awesome. And frankly, Alan, I think that that's one of the reasons that you've had such a prolific career, because that level of detail.
Yeah, it never stops really. Like
Yeah.
even now, I'm still doing that with everything. The great thing about working in movies is they kind of become part of you, and you're just thinking about it subliminally the whole time.
Yes.
So, like for example, my next movie is going to have a realtor's office in it, in London, and all I do is I walk around London and I'm looking at realtor offices the whole time, and I'm going, why am I doing this? But you kind of have to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. So it's amazing. And it's like you never can turn it off, can you? It's like
No, it's part of you. Yeah.
It's part of you. Now, Eric has another question here that I'll throw up for you. It says, is there a horror movie you've seen that stands out to you as the best production design you've seen, or a particular movie that inspires you?
Well, I think, like we've been talking about, if it's done well and you don't really see it, that's the best kind of design. It has to
Mhm.
feel natural. Like, yes, you can go to fantasy where there are some movies like Guillermo del Toro. I think his name's slightly wrong there, but his movies are kind of heightened horror, um,
Okay.
very stylized, and I love that. I love stylized horror as well. I love, like, my kids are watching Stranger Things at the moment downstairs, and
Oh
there's a lot of
yeah.
very stylized set
Very.
design. Like the underworld is very stylized, and the
Mhm.
characters are, but it works.
Yep.
It really does work. So I go with it. If I see it, I go, okay, this is the world they're showing me. I believe this world.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yes.
there are many movies I like. I don't really have one particular movie I could pick out that would say, oh, that's the best one.
Okay.
I just love something's really well made. There's a TV show in Europe that you guys probably don't have. It's a German one called Dark, Dark, and it's about
Okay.
a town in Germany. There's a lot of time travel. It's kind of a little bit of horror, but time travel.
I've seen it. No,
Yeah.
we do have it over here
Okay. Well,
on
that's one of my
Netflix.
favorite. That's one of my favorite shows because I think the
Ooh,
detail is incredible. Like
it is.
they tell the story so well.
It is insane that show, like level of stuff
Yeah.
with the
Yeah. But kind
parallel
of,
things,
and the
and
same character being alive at three different ages at the same time. I
yes,
just think I love that kind of storytelling. It's kind of
yeah,
horror fantasy in a way.
it is,
Yeah.
and just what a brilliant imagination, brilliant writing,
Yeah. Absolutely.
for sure.
So
Um,
I look for things like that. I'm always looking for something a little bit left field, a bit different.
yes, wonderful. All right, well, Eric, thanks for the question. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, I'm fighting this cough. Um, one second. I'm sorry. All right. Let's see. Now, if we go back to crawl, and we're going to be starting to wind down, guys. Here we're approaching the hour mark. Here we're not far away. We got about 10 minutes. So, if any of you have any burning questions, this is the time to send those in. Um, I'm curious, Alan, with crawl.
Yeah.
Were there any specific challenges that came about working with all of the water? Because that had to be, it had to have some extra level of and
It
crazy.
was very complicated. You don't realize how strong a force water is until you're
Mhm.
in 2 or 3 meters of it, and you've built a big set. And because we have to create the effect, like in the when the tidal waves hitting the house,
Yes.
the way we did that is we built the outside of the house is one set. We built the inside as several sets, and each set had water coming at it really fast. And they call them tip tanks. They're like
Okay.
big bathtubs, huge bathtubs that are full of water, and they do that, and all the water comes out, and it goes
Okay.
down a ramp. It goes down a ramp,
Mhm.
and that water just hits the set like a car crash.
Okay.
And all so everything you see in the movie, water coming in windows, that's all real. That's actually done for real.
Mhm.
But it's so forceful; it breaks everything. It damages everything, and if there are people in there, they're just getting thrown everywhere. It's wild. It was really wild in there. Yeah.
Man, because there's a lot of uh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, it was quite an education to work with water, and it's so dangerous. Like water is so dangerous. It just it's like a force. It's hard to describe, but it is its own force, and it can really hurt you if you're not careful.
Yes, I can. Oh yeah, it's well, and that's what I was going to ask you because like in the crawl space, um, when it's the father, the daughter and the father are down there, and
Yeah,
it's pretty extensive scene. Like it's a long sequence,
yeah,
and I guess, and let me ask, because again, you know what they, like they say, it only takes your face under a couple inches of water to drown.
yeah,
Yeah, you don't. It doesn't take that much, for it.
yeah.
And so, as far as divers and safety things, like what safety precautions would you guys have for
Oh,
the?
we had a full dive team down with us in there,
Okay,
and
okay,
the actors have a like. Anytime you see an actor on the screen, if they're in the water, there's a safety person like literally just off the edge of that shot,
okay.
ready to jump in with oxygen or a safety rope.
Mhm.
the whole set was designed so that all the ceiling could come off really quickly.
Okay.
A little bit like an escape door in a plane. So if
Yeah.
something goes wrong, you can take that ceiling off super quick. It was all
Okay.
designed like panels. And then if somebody was having a panic attack or claustrophobia, we took the ceiling off super quick. Didn't happen very often, but we designed that into the set design so that everybody felt comfortable, that they knew they'd be okay.
And I guess they probably, and I may be getting a little out of scope, but I'm sure the actors have a signal, right? They have some way.
Oh yeah, no, and they spend a lot of time down there ahead of time, so to get familiar with the environment. So like we all went down there with the director, with the actors, with the stunt guys, with the camera guy. It was the whole gang. We rehearsed everything multiple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, water can be something. I mean,
Yeah.
it really can.
So I've only done one water movie. I might be doing another one soon, so we'll see. I'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Can't wait to hear about it. Fingers crossed, man.
Yeah,
for you.
absolutely. Yeah.
Now, I was going to ask you this. I think I think I may already know the answer, but just to make sure I do. For Crawl, what would you say was the most challenging and hard part? Was it the water element, or was it something else?
I think just creating that world, like the environment of when they first arrive at the house, or when the daughter first arrives trying to find her dad, that whole drive in past the gas station, down the street, up to the house, that was a big movie set, but you can only go so big. So the trick was, how do we squash all of this world into one building? Like it's inside a giant warehouse. Wow. And that was very complicated to work out, because we computer model everything. Computers are fantastic. So we call pre-visualization. So we make models of everything, and we can kind of drive around with our own cameras, virtual cameras. But it's nothing like seeing it for real. Then you see the camera guy do his thing. You go, wow, this looks great. Like it works really impressive. Yeah.
Wow. Hey everyone, thank you, Val, for putting the links up again. We've been doing it. You guys have been doing it throughout this interview. Again, just a reminder, in case you joined late, be sure to visit Alan's website. It's all right here. You can click it in the chat. Also, we want to make sure and follow him on Instagram. Let's do our part to grow his Instagram.
So my Instagram is very random, by the way. It's very random. It's just things I look at. And go, that's kind of cool. I'll put that up on Instagram.
I know. I love it. I was going through it the other day, just kind of browsing through your post, and I'm like, wow, this is some interesting, different visual stuff he's got here.
Yeah, I'm not really. I don't have pictures of people, really. I just have things, weird things that catch my eye.
That's cool. That's neat. And let's see here. We've got one more question from the chat, then I've got a couple of closing questions for you, Alan.
Sounds good.
And then we'll wrap it up. Eric asked, Alan, you mentioned growing up with artists in your family. Is there any other art form you were considering, or did you always know you wanted to be a production designer?
I think I mentioned early on that I'm an architect by training, so I always wanted to make buildings. I love buildings. I love rooms. I love spaces. And I kind of realized early on that architecture is a bit limited. It takes a long time to build a building, and they're very complicated, and they're very expensive, and they don't kind of end up the way you want them. So the moment I understood what production design is, I said, that's where I need to be, because I get to create a make-believe world temporarily, but then it lives on the DVD or on the film or on streaming.
That's right.
And you can enjoy it for years to come. And I just said that's the way to do design. That to me is more interesting. So production design also means I can one moment be doing a spaceship, which I was a few months ago, or I can be doing a house in Florida with alligators, or I can be in Spain with an Exorcist, or I can be in where can I be next? I can be anywhere. Yeah,
that's right. Or like Cobweb, literally anywhere. You're creating even the street, which is
exactly, which is great.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't realize that a lot of movies like this do actually build everything. We build all the environments. So some movies go to real places and they use a real street or a real house. Yeah. My challenge is, because I do American movies in Europe, America doesn't exist in Europe. I have to make it.
That's right. And when I watch Cobweb, for example, I feel like it was shot somewhere in the U.S. I don't.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I really do.
That's a great challenge for me. Again, like I say about the bus and the license
Yeah,
plate and even the road.
that's
Does it look
right.
right? Like I would drive around Google Earth. I would screen grab like
Hmm.
high schools, you name it, and trying to think, what's that thing look like? What's that thing over there?
Yeah, yeah. It's phenomenal, phenomenal job.
Cool.
Uh, Now, just a couple of closing questions for you. I'd like to ask is,
Yeah.
and now this can be across your entire career. So I'm going to go big here.
Yeah.
What film over your whole career to this point would you say has been the most challenging to make? Like that one movie where
Wow.
it was a tough one.
That's a big
And
question.
it's a big
um,
question when you've done so many films.
well,
I
no,
know.
I've been very lucky because I've worked with some really cool people. Like my mentor was a guy in London called Stuart Craig, who
Okay.
is a very famous British production designer. He's got loads of Oscars. He's just really highly regarded, and
Wow.
he was like a teacher. And his movies I worked on, like mainly Harry Potter, were very challenging. He would just set us all a challenge every day. The guys, we're gonna try and do this, and it was the best education I ever had. It was fantastic. We had to kind of create the weirdest moments, the weirdest things. He'd come with a little sketch, a little idea, and say, "Right, Alan, make that happen." And so I'd say
Wow.
I'll say the Harry Potter movies are the biggest challenge for me, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah, because you worked on the Harry Potter movies. I mean,
yeah,
I mean, I was telling you, chat, you guys, I'm serious. When I say Alan has been there and done that, he is telling you it's amazing. It's so impressive what he's worked on. Um, and it's incredible. And Veritas says, that's so awesome. Love the artistic work that goes into making a world believable.
yeah. No,
Mhm.
it's. I love this job because it is always new, always challenging. You can't
Yeah.
ever rest. You can't just sit back and go, okay, I've done it, it's finished. That never happens. It's always a new challenge. Always. That can be a little bit daunting at times, but it
Yes.
kind of keeps me alive as well. It keeps my brain very alive.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. So my last question for you today is, what advice would you give someone that desires to be an art director or a production designer in the
Yeah.
film business? And you mentioned earlier there's no like door that everyone walks through; it's all
No.
different. But what advice would you give maybe to help them?
I think, well, they have to have passion, firstly. They have to have passion.
Mhm.
They don't have to be an architect. They don't have to be an artist. They have to be willing to learn.
Okay.
And there are many, many ways in. Like you can come into a movie, you could be helping put the trash out, and you could be helping the catering guys make some coffee. That's
Yep.
how it starts. A lot of people start that way.
Hmm.
And then you see something somebody's doing that you really like the look of. Like there's so many different jobs. You might not even be into art. You might be into sound. You might be into light. There are so many jobs for all those different aspects. I think the trick is just to try and get near a production team sometime and just see what they're all doing and find the bit that you really like the look of that fits you as your kind of lights your fire. But yeah,
Love
like
it.
there is no direct, like people can go to college. You can go to college for filmmaking, but
Hmm.
really it's a very practical world. You have to kind of learn on the job to learn with the people who do it.
Hmm. Wow, good advice. Get it basically, get like you said, get in the door.
Yeah.
Whatever, anywhere, just be
Keep
on
pushing.
set. Be
Once you
there.
find a door, push your way in. Just get your
Yes,
fingers in there, get your foot in there. Just keep pushing. Don't be afraid.
love that. That's awesome. That's great advice. Well, guys, um, this has been an incredible interview. I was looking forward to this for so long. And Alan, I want to thank you, my
No, you're
sir.
welcome. You're very
This was
welcome.
just an amazing insight you've shared with us. And it's time to watch Cobweb again because there is so much now I'll be looking for.
You got to
And
search it out. Yeah.
yes, and I love that. I love that piece. So we're going to go ahead, guys, be respectful of Alan's time. And we are at the 1 hour mark. So we're going to go 1 second. Had to get one more cough in. So we're gonna go ahead and do that and end this stream. But Alan, I will meet you backstage. So if you could just hang tight,
Sure.
I'll
Yeah. No
meet you.
problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But Val says, thank you so much, Alan, for taking time out of your night to spend with us today.
Oh, you're welcome, Val. No problem.
It's awesome. Yes, we appreciate it very much. Shout out. And also Eric wants to say thank you as well. Thanks for being here, Alan. It was nice to meet you.
Thanks, Eric. Thank you very much.
All right. So thank you all to my moderators in the chat. Appreciate your work today. Appreciate the super chat that came in earlier, and for being here. Thank you all for being here. And Alan, thank you again, sir, for being here.
You're welcome. Very welcome. It's nice to do this. Great to meet you guys.
It was a real treat. All right, guys, we're going to end it here, and be sure and share this replay out, guys. I want as many people to see this as possible. So when the stream is done, if you could share it on your social medias, that would be great. Let's spread the word. All right, guys. Excuse me. We'll see you next time.
Bye,
Have
guys.
a great
Bye.
day. Bye-bye.
Hey, you have been watching Craven Something Scary. This is Lee Waddell, the original Ghostface, thanking you for stopping by and checking it out.